So now that we've understood who are the main participants in the off-plan model of investment and what are the key differences between off-plan properties and traditional properties, now let's weigh in and consider what are the inherent advantages and disadvantages of off-plan investments. First inherent advantage of off-plan properties or the off-plan investment model is the lower purchase price. So off-plan properties are usually sold at a discounted price. Usually you hear it being termed as pre-construction price and below market price, but it usually means you're buying at a very, very low entry point compared to other secondary properties and compared to the market value or the purchase value at completion. So the value you buy when it's in building stages and the market value after it has been fully completed are not the same. And there's a huge gap actually. So that is the first advantage which off-plan investments have. And the third most liked, I think, or preferred advantage of off-plan investments is the customization options. You get to increase the value of your property to your own taste and specifications, which means you get to put the cabinets that you want, to put the internal doors that you want, to paint it the way you want, to have your own ceiling and your tiles the way you want, which drastically increases your value when you want to exit or sell or rent out your property. Fourth advantage is usually modern features. Because off-plan investments usually are delivered, let's say 12 to 18 months. So the developer tries to make sure that the fittings and features of the property, also the design is contemporary and up to date, which means by the time the completion is done and handover has been initiated or conducted, the property does not look outdated. And so for the fifth option, we have payment flexibility. This option is a relief to a lot of off-plan investors because secondary investors usually don't have this advantage. You either pay for it cash upfront, which is the majority of transactions in finished properties are cash and upfront, while for off-plan investments, you get to pay with intervals and stages. And usually they're, from my experience, they're usually 3 months. So if you, depending on the payment plan you go for, if you go for 6 months, your payment can be a deposit and you make payment monthly. But if you go for 12 months, usually your payment is divided after 33 months. So that is a huge relief for off-plan investors. And as for the disadvantages of off-plan investments, I think which are you might have an idea by now. The first is construction delays. And especially if you're in a third world country or a country that is still subjected to foreign currency, changes in foreign currency, this is a big problem because usually the developers import construction materials. And so when there are changes, market changes, it usually causes project delays along other reasons. And the second disadvantage is if the market fluctuates unfavorably, you might or may see the value of your property drop during the construction period. The third risk, which I try to educate a lot of investors on with offline investments, is usually the developer's risks. You have to understand that the developer has a lot of say in how your off-plan properties are going to be delivered to you and when they are going to be delivered. So it's really important that you take this risks into consideration before making or even considering making an off-plan investment. Ask yourself who is the developer and what projects have he delivered before? When did he deliver them and how did he deliver them? That is very important. So the fourth disadvantage, which I think also a lot of people can predict, is limited visibility. With off-plan investments, you really can't see your property or investment. The only thing that you are allowed to see is depending on which stage you decide to invest in is usually building plans and layouts. So, but you can't get to inspect your property to check whether the ceilings are too low, whether the doors are where they shouldn't be, or whether the windows are too. So there's a lot of limited visibility when it comes to off-plan investments. And for the fifth one, which is mostly financial challenges. So if you're in a real estate market where usually most transactions, or you have the option of financing, which makes investment very easy, um, off-plan investors usually have a stigma when it comes to financial institutions and lenders, because the financial institutions don't want to invest in something that is not already there and has a lot of risks to it. There are a lot of risks which the financial institutions cannot control, so they decide not to give out a lot of financing for off-plan investments.